Oh, I don't have any. I don't have any sound. I hope your theme song's playing.
It is.
Subscribe quick.
Good morning, folks. I haven't rebooted my computer yet. Okay.
Hush, you're still singing, JJ. I'm still listening to the song. All right, talk now.
Kathy Griffen can't take a joke.
You're on. Oh, sorry.
Kathy Griffen can't take a joke and more stories. I haven't rebooted my computer, so something's... Anyway, whatever. Good morning, folks. I'm JJ. That's Deacon. This is rumble.com/JJW. We meet Monday through Friday at 8 o'clock in the morning. And look at that. It's exactly 8 o'clock. You're not late this time. We drink coffee, and we talk about the news, politics, culture, corruption, squid monsters. We talk about all kinds of amazing things. And you know why? Because
we're cool.
You know what's... Deke.
That's what
do you
the
remember
cool
when
guys do.
Yeah. Do you remember when you were a kid and you were like afraid of the monster under the bed or afraid of the closet, the dark closet, and like there could be something in the closet? You know what dispels that? Turn on the light, looking in the closet. There's nothing there. Nothing to really be worried about. Okay, so there actually is a squid monster. It actually is trying to kill us, but if we confront it,
it doesn't exist.
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's.
If you look under the bed for the squid monster won't be there. But if you don't look under the bed for the squid monster is there. You see how that works? So
that's what we're doing. We're gonna confront that daggum thing. We're not gonna let it take over the world.
Did you know? I'm gonna give you a look. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I don't know. I'm not going anywhere with this.
I know. That's why I stopped you. I stopped you to make a patented Deacon joke. It's really not a joke. I sleep with my feet. I have to have the covers underneath my feet, and it always drove Ashley crazy. And I cannot go to sleep with just the covers hanging off. They have to be underneath my feet. You know,
really?
Like kind of tucked in under. Yes,
up taco style.
Not real tight, but I have to be. I have to know that my toes are not going to get eaten by a monster during that. And when I have been asked why I do this, that's the only logical response that I can give. I mean, that's the only. My toes are going to get eaten by a monster if I leave them with the sheet dangling down. He can reach up there and grab my toes. So they come underneath and he can get my toes.
You know what? There's a certain logic to it.
Let me point out something. I've been doing that since I was a kid, and I still have all 10 toes.
You have not had your toes eaten.
Not had my toes eaten by a monster. So,
all right. Okay, folks. I got us over on YouTube, on Rumble. Good morning, and I gotta say that's another thing that you're yin and I'm yang, or whatever, whichever one I am, because I sleep with my feet out from under my covers. Like I pull the blanket sheet, whatever. I pull it up so that my feet are completely out.
You're a psychopath.
All right. People like, hey, nobody cares about this. We know nobody cares.
Our first comment was it should have been a phone call, and we've held to that ever since.
All right, folks. So let's start. We got
disgusting, stupid woman.
We got a bunch of different kind of stuff to talk about today. It's going to be a cornucopia of little news snacks. Deacon, do you remember when this famous comedian was so hilarious and beloved by the public?
When she starred in such movies as The Unborn and Love Wrecked. And the huge hit, A Turtle's Tale, Sammy's Adventure, and The Intern. Don't you remember her in Dirty Love and Jackie's Back?
Has she really been in all these movies?
I'm reading from IMDb.
Wow. I just thought she was like a failed TV star or something.
Well,
she's horrible.
That too.
Wow.
And if you don't know who we're talking about, let me okay, you've already got a picture up.
Yeah, I got a picture up right there. Kathy Griffin's New York comedy show was crashed by a Trump fan caravan. Let me tell you guys, this is pretty funny. First of all, I'm shocked that she even did a comedy show because she's not funny. So how do you even sell tickets?
I mean, how do you do? Did they crash the nursing home? Where is she performing that people still want to see her? Seriously.
I don't know.
New York. She's got to be in New York over there in the crazy part of New York where they all live.
The entire state of New York is bonkers. Okay, so we got video here, but comedian Kathy Griffin. You know what? I don't think she deserves this term comedian because who do I associate that? I associate that specifically with like a couple of ladies of comedy that were like iconic. You know what I mean? Like comedian, you can just throw that on anybody, and because most comics are not funny. But there's a couple of comedians that were just super, super important milestones in our culture. Who do you think of when you think of a comedian? I guess the first is
Richard
Lucille
Pryor.
Ball. Richard Pryor.
Oh, I'm sorry. I must have misunderstood the question. What was that?
Okay.
Oh, no. Right. Rita, what's her name? I can't think of her last name. She was the first one that I thought of. Who played on Saturday Night Live, who played Rosanna Dana. Don't you remember Rosanna Dana?
Is she the one that she died real young, right?
Yeah, she did. She was hilarious.
Who was the lady that got a lot of like
Catherine O'Hara she's one of the best, I think.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Kathy Griffin.
Rita Rosner.
Yeah. That's early 80s SNL.
Yeah, it is. And if you go back and watch that stuff, she's legendary. She what they did is what all these female comedians now, they like her. She was just the first person I thought of when you say comedian. A legendary woman comedian is. Well,
there's a couple that are in my mind right now, but I can't pull the names.
You were right. Lucille Ball was. Phyllis Diller was. What was her name? Go ahead. I can't remember. My brain's not working.
I'm trying to get her a particular name from memory because all I can do is faces. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and, that's all right.
Anyway, Kathy Griffin ain't in the list.
No.
So here's check this out. This is funny. This is a little loud, so I'm gonna try to turn it down a little bit. Okay. Now this is the kind of thing I expect to see in Texas. People rolling around in trucks and stuff.
Right.
Look at this.
And he's got a
PTSD is not comical.
Head.
That's a woman. That's a woman sticking out there. And you got this crazy woman saying, "Oh, F you guys, F you guys." And look, just the idea that in New York, I think this is in Long Island, a bunch of Republicans or, I don't know, people that just don't like Kathy Griffin organized a protest right in front of her establishment. I'm going to turn that down some more. So these guys, they just did a parade in front of her little concert venue or whatever. I mean,
I want one of those.
and this crazy bitch right here tries to take somebody's flag. And then when she's asked about it in a minute, she's like, listen.
Think about this. I think it just shows us how shitty Long Island has become.
Yeah. Oh, okay. So these people that love to protest, they hate it when you protest them. They hate it when you exercise your free speech in opposition to them. So Democrats are retarded.
Oh, my bad. I accidentally put up I didn't mean to put that up.
Okay.
You remember that picture that nothing happened for? Yeah. Why don't you try that with? Why don't you try that? Why don't you take a picture today like that, our viewers, and then do that with a Joe Biden head and see what happens to you if you do that.
Yeah.
But that picture, there you go. That's why they were holding up that Kathy Griffin red-headed thing there, and that. Yeah. So there you go. I just wanted to refresh your memory.
Yeah. So, the left gets to exercise free speech. And they get to say anything they want, and they get to be as radical and as wild as whatever. And if you just say, we don't like what you're saying, toot, toot, go Trump, they lose their minds. All right.
I think
Okay.
it's, Granddaddy always said, my old granddaddy was a simple old country man, but he always said, son, the old wheel will be at its extreme high and its extreme low, but it always rolls back around to the extreme high. That old wheel always rolls back around. Some people call it karma.
The pendulum swings, baby. It swings left and it swings right. It's always going to happen. Right?
Always does.
It's just like your balls. When you're jogging, in your balls, left and right and left and right. You know what I'm saying? A little chafy sometimes, but that's free speech. Good morning. Good morning, Dave. How you doing? He says Dave. He says good morning. He says Dave. Why would he say Dave? Hello, me. I haven't had enough coffee yet. Okay. Deacon.
JJ.
Some people in this country have been lying to everybody for years, trying to convince us that elections can be manipulated and that ballots can be like our voting systems can be cheated. And that
that's me. Yeah, you're talking about me. Yeah, I'm the one that's been saying.
Oh, right.
That.
Yes, right. Yeah. Some people have been saying that.
Sorry,
yeah,
that's me.
But
I am some
luckily,
people.
The rest of us civilized Americans have
Y'all
been saying,
know
no,
everything.
our voting systems are secure. Okay. Most secure in the history of the world.
Absolutely.
Most trusted.
Capital T.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah. There was a astonishing news development the last day or so.
Shocking.
And officials in Chicago, and I just can't even believe this, to be honest. Officials in Chicago have discovered an additional 10,000 ballots in
it just popped up. Holy crap! Wow!
They must have. It's one of these extraordinary events that never happens, but it happened to happen one time. But this doesn't prove the rule of anything. No. It's in Chicago, which is normally very, 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 very well controlled.
They're corrupt up there anyway. It's just a one-off little thing.
It's a one-time thing.
Freaking city that Trump said for the election. I mean, that's just crazy talk.
Election officials in Chicago have discovered an additional 10,000 mail-in ballots that will impact the results of the district attorney election. At last count, O'Neill Burke is leading Clayton Harris by over 2,000 votes. She has 259,000 votes, and he has 257,000. The election board is now looking to add an extra 10,000 votes to the candidate they prefer.
Sure, yeah. I mean,
no, to the. I mean,
I don't see what's wrong with this. Can you explain to me what's going on?
I think the thing we need to do here is go over here to George Beasy Tweets, okay, who reported this story. And we obviously need to report him for misinformation. That's really
Don't report him for misinformation. Stop with the X. Don't do that. Don't do that to him. You need to follow him.
All right. Let's see. How about this? We got wow, why is my browser doing this? Sharing this tab to that, sharing Twitter to sharing this. What's going on here? Okay. All right. I don't know what's going on.
It's not like we've been doing a podcast for about the better part.
Yeah, I think my computer's my computer's just protesting. All right. A man in Texas is running for president. It's not Donald Trump. He's from Florida now. A man in Texas is running for president, and he changed his name to literally anybody else. So a man named literally anybody else is running for president, and he okay. He wants voters to have a choice between Donald Trump and President Biden and literally anybody else. A teacher and Army veteran from North Richland Hills, Texas. That's up north near Dallas Fort Worth area. If you guys have ever looked at a map, I'm sure you know where Dallas Fort Worth is. Formerly named Dustin Eby, He told WFAA 88 he legally changed his name and is running for president under that name. He told the outlet he's hoping the name will send a message. It's not about me, literally anybody else, so far as it is an idea. We can do better out of 300 million people for president. So he showed
There's not that many people for president. There's not. We say that because that's the population, but do you want?
I mean, hold on. This is a
Can
good
you
mental
think of
experiment. I like
anyone
this.
in your life that you would want to be the president of the United States?
Hold on.
'Cause I
Let's
love a
start
lot of people, but I can't think of anybody.
Let's start with the whole population. 300 million people, right?
Right.
All right.
Right.
50% are women, so they're out.
Oh no! What?
No. so now it's 150 million people.
You better stop. We've got one viewer and they're going to leave.
Okay. I mean, you can winnow it down pretty fast. Now, you got to know, out of 150 million men, half of them are dumber than average. So now we're down 75 million men.
No, that's not half of them. I mean, that's like 80%, I think.
That isn't how averages work, Deacon.
I didn't say average. I said about 80% of the population is dumb. Didn't say average.
I'm just trying to get it down to where I can run for president.
I know.
Don't you think I should be? I don't have enough time in the day to run for president, too.
No, I wouldn't put you through. That's why I'm saying I could probably think of people that would do a good job, but I wouldn't want to put them in that situation because I love them too much.
Yeah. You really have to be like, see, I don't actually think Donald Trump's a sociopath, but I think you pretty much have to be a sociopath to be in politics for real. I think he actually wants to make a difference, to be honest. But,
I was told one day about a business, talking about business and companies and stuff like that. And I was told, the person said, you know what, Andy, you got to have a son of a bitch in the wood pile. And I was like, I don't know. That's a weird old phrase that I've never heard, but it makes sense because you've got to have a son of a bitch. You've got to have somebody that's going to be like, man, I'm sorry, your sob story and you're broke and you just had a baby and you got a flat tire and all that. I hope things get better, but we don't have anything here in the company for you. Have a good day. You've got to have one of those people. And I am not one of those people. I'm like, oh, well, let's see. You can sweep the floor and we'll give you $50. I'm one of those type of people. And
kind of softy.
Yeah, I am.
A softy.
And I've always said I would make a terrible manager because when I was the boss of my buddies back in the day, I'd get bitched out and I'd go up to them and I'd be like, please stop. I'm not I'm not a son of a bitch in the woodpile. I like to bitch, but I'm not, one of those.
Right.
But
you have to
have those types of people. Understand that. You have to have those types of people.
I think that's true. I think it's true. And, like Donald Trump has some good qualities and some bad qualities. That's true. And Joe Biden has some bad qualities. Okay, so let's move on to the next story. Donald Trump's $454 million bond has been reduced to $175 million thanks to a New York appeals ruling. It's still crazy that this is even a thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this is a massive win for Trump because it saved him like $300 million. Donald Trump is a billionaire, but for people that are stupid or Democrats or don't really understand how money works, people do not just keep Scrooge McDuck vaults of money in their backyard. That doesn't happen.
Wait a minute. You're telling me, what are you telling me? That's all fake, that I can't dive through gold coins and swim?
No.
That's been my dream since DuckTales. Woo.
So imagine if you can't conceive of a Scrooge McDuck vault of dollar bills. Imagine, if you will, Deacon, a bucket, a water pail filled with $1 bills, and you put all of your money into that, and you're like, wow, I have a bucket of money. Now, do you know how much interest that is going to accrue sitting in that bucket?
None.
0. Right. So rich people, what they do is they put their money into assets and bonds and other things that accrue interest, that make them money. Rich people do not sit around with like crates of dollar bills at their house. So he's a billionaire, but he doesn't have $500 million liquid cash. Okay. Well, actually, he probably does have 500, but he's not going to. He's
Yeah,
not going to
he's
hand
not gonna
all
get
of that over for this.
Yeah.
So he fought the judgment, and it's on appeal. But in order for it to go to appeal, for whatever reason, he has to post a bond of the full amount of the judgment. That's what they had said. And then once he has a bond for the full amount of the judgment, then the appeals process can move forward. And then if he wins on appeal, then the bond is returned to him. That's the way it goes. So he got the bond reduced from 454 to 175 million, which he's going to post or either in cash or as a security bond in the next 10 days. And the appeals will move forward. So big win for Donald Trump. And Letitia James is terrible. But she's crooked too. It's just crazy how many of these DAs that are that are basically doing Joe Biden's campaign work for him are crooked. I just can't even believe how many crooked DAs there are. These guys are getting all fleshed out. All right, man, we got great news today. This is fun stuff. Let's see. We did the literally anybody else story. How about this is pretty good news. So when I posted this story last night, it was that a London court will Tuesday morning will rule on whether or not WikiLeaks Julian Assange can challenge the extradition to the court. And overnight, while we all slept over in England land, the hearing was held, and Julian Assange wins a temporary reprieve from extradition as UK court asks the US for assurances. So for those of you that are younger, Julian Assange is the kind of the WikiLeaks guy, and many, many years ago, like back in like 2010 or something like that, he published a bunch of documents that essentially were very damning for the United States. And ever since then, the United States has been trying to prosecute him. And by prosecute Julian Assange, we mean take him, put him in a dark hole, lock the door forever until he dies, because the United States is trying to kill Julian Assange for exposing the deep state.
Yeah, Julian opened the door, and Snowden, those two guys are heroes for what they sacrificed to pass along information to us.
They both did the public, and when I say the public, the American public, a tremendous service, and in some cases the global public. Julian Assange was actually a journalist, and he's being essentially chased down for being a journalist,
and they've tried to smear him with everything, like that rape thing, and they was all over the news for a long time, and then it was completely bogus, but they don't report out in public that it was bogus because they've already got that. And you ask 100 people, and I bet you 30 of them are going to be like, "Oh, he's the rapist," because not everybody. They don't know.
When have you ever seen a headline that says so and so exonerated? We were wrong about everything we said about him. When have you ever said that? Seen that in the history of any time? Never. That never happens.
And then you got to go. And here's something. Here's something that I did to Alex one day a couple of weeks ago, and then I did it to Kendra. Kendra's fixed to be 19. Alex is fixed to be 16. I said, Alex, have you ever went to Google page 2? And he looked up at me and he said, "What's that?" He said, "What's that?" And then I asked Kendra separately away. I was like, "Kendra, have you ever been to Google page 2?" And she was like, "I don't guess so." I had to explain to Alex what Google page 2 was, and then be like, okay, so let me explain to this real quick. Cause I was explaining to him how information and how easy it is to brainwash the masses. And I'm trying to teach him not to be brainwashed, and he's not. But I'm like, look, you Google something and you find one of the first. I said, have you ever scrolled all the way down to the bottom of the first Google page, search for something, and then you see the little numbers and it's got page 2? I said, there's 1,000 freaking search results, but Google only puts the ones up there that you want to see, or that they want you to see. And you have to actually dig and go down to page 2 and page 10 and page 14. And sometimes you might go through 28 pages and it's a bunch of bull crap and you've wasted your time. but that's the process, man. That's the process. And sometimes you find something and you're like, well, this is hooey. And then you go and you start looking, you go down the rabbit hole. But so the fact that the whole thing is, he didn't even know there's a whole generation that's like, Google it, first couple of things, that's it.
Right.
So if we wanted your two dads to be popular, we're going to pay money to get Google to put us on the first page, man.
Yeah. You gotta do a lot to bump your
instead, when you Google your two dads, you get a bunch of episodes of my two dads.
Maybe I didn't name the show very well. That's possible. I don't know what I should have named it. If you really want to be counterculture, you could use a search engine other than Google.
But
do you know how much you're being controlled by Google's?
Right. But how many of them do that? Bing does that too.
I know that they have an algorithm, yeah, but I think I get better results out of it, or equivalent results. If you really want to do something if you really want to get search results that are not like curated and trying to push you, you can do something like DuckDuckGo. DuckDuckGo is a search engine that doesn't have like algorithm stuff in it. So
I use Alta Vista.
Yeah.
I use Alta Vista and Ask Jeeves.
I have that plugged right into my GeoCities website.
Yeah. What's your IRQ number? ICQ number?
Oh my God,
I'll message you on ICQ.
Dang. Look at these old men being old and nerds.
The old computer people out there. Oh.
Yeah. Okay, so let me just
plug in updated.
Oh, whoa! I think you're ahead of me.
Favorite freaking Winamp.
I need to find some more theme songs on Napster.
Oh, that's
okay. Okay. All right. So, in London, WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange extradition in the U.S. was put on hold on Tuesday after London's High Court said the U.S. must provide assurances that he would not face the death penalty. The death penalty. The death penalty for what? Do you know what I mean? Like ostensibly, this was supposed to be an extradition on a rape case. A death penalty on a rape case. Have you ever heard of that? Okay, but it's not a real rape case, and the rape supposedly happened in Iceland or something like that. That's all smoke and mirrors. This is about Julian Assange publishing information as a journalist, and the UK is like, we kind of want to make sure that you're not going to kill a member of the press. This is insane.
What?
And that the U.S. is in such bad reputation that we have to give assurances that we won't kill a journalist. Julian Assange is 52 years old, on trial for 18 counts, all bar one under the Espionage Act over WikiLeaks' high-profile release of confidential U.S. military records and diplomatic cables. Sorry, United States. He was given that information. He published it as a journalist. We have a freedom of the press. We have a First Amendment. You can't just execute somebody for the First Amendment. Our country's run by dickheads.
I mean, and nobody's going to stop them. Nobody's going to stop them. They're going to do what they're going to do. There's going to be a bunch
charges, David says,
schmoes on a freaking internet show with 16 viewers that's going to bitch about it, and that's it. You want to think
it can't be treason, America. It cannot be treason. Julian Assange is not American. He has no obligation whatsoever. He's Australian.
Yeah, I don't understand that either, but
all right. I'm not saying you're wrong, Dave. I mean, though you're right, those are what the charges are, but I'm just saying it doesn't make sense. Okay. Let's see. What else we got? Got great news today. It's a great day. Julian. Close the Julian one. Do. Oh, my God. I saw this morning, Deke. And this is not funny. This is serious.
Oh, I know what you're going to talk about. I have too. I've been talking about it. I've seen the video. It's horrific.
I have not watched the video. Should we not watch the video?
No. I mean, it's scary. But what I was saying on the video this morning, I was like, if you are or on the radio this morning, I was like, if you are one of those people like my Ashley, if she gets nervous when we go across bridges and stuff, because we are the rivers. We have rivers here where I live.
Yeah.
A bunch of rivers. And every time we go across one of those big bridges and whatnot, go across the Ohio River or the Tennessee River or something like that, she just kind of tenses up. She wants to get across. She don't like it. And I said on the air, if you're one of those people like that, you might not want to watch this video.
Really?
Because it'll freak you out.
Okay.
So
all right.
watch
So
the
we're
video.
gonna.
It's not horrific, but it's a
Yeah,
long.
we're gonna watch the video. Okay, so I know we've been kind of like amusing or try to be amusing, whatever, but we're gonna really bring it down to serious right now. There is a dire emergency, oh my god, this is crazy. Okay, here we go. Mass casualty event declared after a Baltimore bridge collapses. Rescuers are searching for as many as 7 people in the frigid waters. I don't know how long ago this was published.
This happened at about 1:30 this morning, Baltimore time.
Yeah, so here's the
video. So you might want to enlarge it and start it. Yeah. So you'll see the container ship coming in over on the left. It's fixing to hit the pier on the left. You can see cars and stuff going
there.
On the bridge right there. It's fixing to hit. It's on fire.
Oh my God.
Dude. That's why I said, if you're one of those people that don't like crossing bridges, do not watch this freaking video.
Oh, it instantly fell over. It instantly collapsed. And that ship probably barely would have fit underneath that bridge in the first place.
I think from what I have read this morning that the ship was on fire, and the ship had some damage or something.
Oh my God.
But what scares me the most is, okay, so in 9th grade, in the 90s, in 9th grade, this is like 1992, I had a class that I had to go to a separate building on our campus, and it was like the auto body carpentry class, but inside that class was a class called 21st Century Technology, and they had little pods that we went to and would spend like 4 to 6 weeks at each pod learning stuff like CAD, robotics. I made a levitating thing to go along a magnetic route with a
that's cool.
So it was really cool stuff like that, 21st century technology, and that was what the class was in the early 90s. And one of the pods that I really enjoyed was you had to take balsa wood and you had to design a bridge. And then you had to take balsa wood and actually construct this bridge out of balsa wood. And we had a machine that you would put the wood bridge in the machine, and it would apply pressure to the bridge, and it would tell you if that bridge would have sustained real traffic and whatnot, if that is a good design for a bridge. And I always really loved that section. I always remember that. It was really cool designing to figure out support and what. It was really interesting to me. And watching this video with that thing just going tick and that whole damn thing falling down is scary as hell. I've never been scared to cross a bridge now, but I'm like, that freaked me out watching that this morning, man. Like that bridge just felt like it was made out of balsa wood.
That ship, okay, so a container ship like that, loaded down with containers, hundreds of tons of mass.
I understand.
And then
that's still scary that thing could take a hit like that and just instantly collapse.
Right.
It didn't man, it's so
insane.
Yeah, so our hearts and prayers and everything go out to those people.
Yeah, that's not good. I hope they find those people, but the reality is,
from what I read this morning, they had rescued 2, but they didn't know if the 2 was accounted for in the 7. They know that there were several cars. It wasn't like packed because it was early in the morning, but there were several cars and at least a semi-tractor trailer sized vehicle that was on the bridge when they went down. So I've been trying to keep up with it all morning. I heard it coming in this morning. I saw it at first thing this morning when I got up and was scrolling through, and I heard it coming in. And I've been talking about it. It's
deep, dark, right? The bridge falls, your vehicle falls, the bridge collapses, because the bridge is above you and below you. So
I think is what they said. 47-degree water is what it was.
Yeah. So you've only got a few minutes before you're
like maybe,
and you're going to be completely disoriented.
Minutes before you're going to freaking get hypothermia.
Yeah. God, that is tragic. I really am. I hope that, I mean, pray for those families, because there's going to be some people grieving. Okay. Let's see. I don't know. Maybe this is good news. Who knows? New York City Council is calling on their Court of Appeals to reverse, okay, all right, a ruling by a terrible judge that bars illegal immigrants from voting in local elections. If the people in New York City want to have illegal immigrants voting in their elections, let them, I guess. Why not? Why not? What's the who cares? The New York City Law Department filed a notice of appeal on behalf of the city council, calling on the Court of Appeals to strike down 2 rulings that determined that the law they passed to give illegal immigrants the right to vote in local elections was unconstitutional. Oh my God, I totally misunderstood. So, Deacon, the city council passed a law that said illegal immigrants can vote. And now they are asking the Court of Appeals to strike it as unconstitutional. We messed this one up. Wow, that's nuts.
See, once again, I'm just going to echo what I've said a million times on this show. This is what happens when we don't let natural selection play its course, people.
Oh, my God. The city council passed local law 11 of 2022 to enfranchise 800,000 New Yorkers who live in our city, pay taxes, and contribute to our communities. Empowering New Yorkers to participate in our local democratic process can only strengthen New York City by increasing civic engagement. It turns out that was a bad idea. Please undo. Oh, my God. So funny.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Let's see. We'll get to before we segue in. Let me do this one, and then we'll do a kind of a music news story, and then you can have floor. All right. Deke, have you ever? Of course you have. Have you ever lost your phone?
Oh my God!
You lost your phone, right? Phones are expensive. You know, you drop your phone, and you thinking or you lose it. You got to get it if you. Okay, so have you ever walked over one of those grates, those grates in a parking lot or whatever, and you think, oh my God, if I drop my phone down there, it'd be like really hard to get that thing out of there. But, your phone's expensive. So if you did drop your phone down there, you might try to get it out. Makes sense. I think it's reasonable. Let's see. Let's go to here. We'll go to BBC News. Okay. It's loading. An Australian man has been freed from a drain after 30 hours hiding from police. That's a little different than the headline over here. It says freed after spending 36 hours trapped in a drain in Australia. An Australian man's been freed after 30 hours in an underground drain network. The 38-year-old man told authorities he had entered the drain in Brisbane to retrieve his phone. But the Queensland police said he had fled there after his car crashed in one of their vehicles on Sunday. He hit a cop car and then crawled into a storm drain and hid there for a day and a half. The man was rescued after a passerby phoned authorities to report that someone was stuck underground. So somebody was walking along. It was like, holy shit, is that the guy from It?
If I did that, that's what I would do. I would sit there by one of those places. Everybody that freaking walked by would be like, we all float down here. See what you got it.
Yeah. So the rescue took about 5 minutes. So I don't know if it was a rescue so much as he
pulled his ass out. It took about 3 minutes. Okay. I've got one here that you may. I came across this morning. I hadn't heard this at all, and I've been keeping up with this crap this year that's happening in the Kentucky legislature. The Kentucky Attorney General ruling has allowed convicted felons the right to own guns. State and local prosecutors will appeal a Louisville judge's ruling last week that a convicted felon can't be prosecuted on a firearms charge because it violates his Second Amendment rights. Now, I'm going to read this. I'm going to go through this quick because it's long, but it all makes sense, and I need to read it all, okay?
Okay.
Jefferson Circuit County Judge Bellows ruled March 13th that it is unconstitutional for prosecutors to move forward with their case against Jacroy Lamont Frazier under a state law prohibiting felons from owning a gun because it doesn't outweigh the Second Amendment right that belongs to all Americans. On Friday, Attorney General Russell Coleman and Jefferson's Commonwealth Attorney Gina Weathers announced in a press release that they would ask this Court of Appeals to review the ruling. Violent crime and deadly drugs are Louisville's most urgent challenges. We are appealing this order because it defies good common sense and would give even the most violent felon a broad right to possess deadly weapons. The most ardent supporters of the Second Amendment, me included, recognize the constitutionality of the laws prohibiting the permission of the possession of firearms by felons like the defendant here. Logan Bellows ruled that it is unconstitutional for prosecutors to move forward with their case against him because under a state law prohibiting felons from owning guns because it doesn't outweigh the Second Amendment right that belongs to all Americans. Once again, in quotations. On Tuesday, Bellows indicated she may change her order after talking with the Court of Appeals, but as of yet, she's not issued a new ruling. I've made a lot of people mad. Blah, 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 blah. Frazier was back in court. He still has tampering with physical evidence charges. At the hearing, the judge told Commonwealth attorneys, blah, 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 that there will be a supplemental order. So basically, there was a part down here I was trying to get to where he, what he was in there for, and I can't find it. But anyway, yeah, Frazier was arrested November 6th, 2021 after Louisville Metro Police were called to after he hit a pole. They claimed that Frazier attempted to hide something in his vehicle when police arrived and pulled out a handgun and handed it to a co-defendant to conceal officers that he is a felon in possession of a handgun. So his previous conviction include drug trafficking, fraud, tampering with physical evidence, and being a felon in possession of a handgun before. He's already got this charge before. So, but his freaking lawyer and this judge have decided that felons, because they're Americans, that supersedes. Yeah. And I was always told that when you commit a felony and whatnot, you've sacrificed. You lose your rights. You lose.
So you don't have the right to. Would you? Okay, I mean, I think this is
when you are convicted of a felony and you go to prison.
Okay,
you lose rights.
Yeah,
you do. You lose
while you're
and
in
you
prison.
Lose rights when you are out. When you get out of prison, you cannot vote. You cannot carry a freaking firearm. I'm sorry. I'm one of these damn people that's like, you're not carrying a firearm. If you're a felon, do you want felons to have firearms? Just felons.
Well, I don't know. I mean, hold on. I don't want to get heated about it. I just want to think about it for a second. So, okay. All right. So, okay. So if you're a felon and you're in prison, obviously you cannot own and have a firearm in prison. You're currently, paying your debt to society. But if you get out of prison, if you are released from prison, then are you still a felon?
You have committed a felony against society that we have punished you for. And because you have been found guilty because of that, I don't care. I mean, we have mistakes, but because of that, you lose certain rights in our society. You don't like it? Go to another fucking society. But this is our society and this is what happens. So I'm sorry. You know this up front. This up front. So don't sit here and say, I didn't know. Well, that's just your freaking intelligence coming to play. We all know this. Okay. So if I go out and rob a bank today and go to prison and get out of prison in 20 years and I'm like, I'm fine. And they're like, oh, well, you're good. You can have a gun. And I'm going to take that gun. I'm going to go rob another damn bank because maybe I'm not the one that's been rehabilitated. Maybe I'm smart enough to trick the system and get out and do it again. And maybe I'm not robbing banks. Maybe I'm killing children or
those people shouldn't get out of jail.
Not everybody has this brain that me and you do.
So, okay, no, hold on. Okay, so I honestly think this is interesting. So let's think about this.
Yeah, I do too.
So your rights, and as enumerated in the Constitution, freedom of religion, freedom of speech, freedom to own and bear arms. We
don't have any of those.
So now is a felon? Do they lose the right to free speech?
We don't have free speech now.
Okay. All right. I mean, that's in practice, but in theory, you have free speech. In theory, you have the right to, okay. No. So now we just had a story, like, I think it was last week that, I think the Supreme Court or federal court, something like that said, Illegal aliens even have the right to
No.
own and possess firearms.
We have to draw a line somewhere. And these leftists want to take all the guns away. Okay? They want to take all the guns away. So and they've tried for decades to take all the guns away, and they have not succeeded. They tried to take away the ammo. It hasn't succeeded yet. So what if we use a new strategy, JJ? What if we use a new strategy?
Yes.
And we can get all the freaking felons and all the illegal terroristic freaking prisoners that are coming into this country the right to have guns, because that's what the Second Amendment says. And if you want to change it, you better change it. This is a nice little play that they're making that I'm seeing on the chessboard. And I think that this is just a next step.
Okay, so rights are something that the government can't deny.
No, they can't. There's only certain inalienable rights that they're not supposed to. You're right.
But these are the inalienable rights.
No, that's not. This is a country's right. This is not an inalienable right. In my opinion, this is a right for this country. Life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. Those are the three.
All right. Well, I mean, I already said, and I'm not changing my position yet. So here's my position on because we had a court ruling like last week that illegal immigrants, even though they're not Americans, because they are under the jurisdiction of the Constitution says that people have the right to keep and bear arms, and it doesn't say citizens. So I am currently in agreement. Illegal immigrants have the right to keep and bear arms, but they do not have the right to be in America. That's where I'm at. No. Felons.
That doesn't make sense to me. You don't have the right to be in our country, but since you are in our country, we're going to cover you with some of our rights that we give our citizens, even though you're not a citizen and I don't even want you here. I'm going to give you the rights that I give my citizens. It doesn't make any sense.
The Constitution doesn't outline our rights within a geography,
because
it outlines our rights within our jurisdiction.
1775, they didn't have 10 million immigrants and prisoners coming over here to this country, and they hadn't had freaking Britain or anybody trying to take away their guns for 50 years. They were getting guns from other places because they were fighting a freaking war, and they were encouraging people to have guns, hence the fucking Second Amendment. They're not the founding fathers. We go back to talking about this. The founding fathers could not have ever in their infinite wisdom, when you look into how they wrote things, it was brilliant. They were very smart people, a lot smarter than me, because they could see steps ahead. But in their infinite wisdom, I don't think any of them ever foresaw a United States president allowing an invasion and trying to take away the guns from this country. They're spinning in their graves.
Okay, let me ask you, because this simplifies things. Are you saying that the Constitution should only apply to citizens?
Yes.
To American citizens?
Yes.
So people who are not American citizens, and I'm not talking illegal immigrants, I'm talking anybody who is a resident, should not have the right to free speech, should not have any of the other rights enumerated?
Nope.
Because
we can make an amendment to give them certain things because they are here and they're going through and doing whatnot, and we can do that. And maybe that's something that we need to do because we've never needed it before.
So, David, the classical legal interpretation of this is that the Constitution doesn't apply to our geography. It applies to the jurisdiction of the United States government. So someplace like Guantanamo Bay that is outside of America, but under the jurisdiction of it's controlled by the United States, the Guantanamo Bay facility, or any of our military bases, any of our embassies, etc. Any of these places that are governed by the United States, the Constitution is applicable there, which means that a person who is not a citizen but is within the jurisdiction of the United States government has the rights and protections afforded them under the Constitution. It's not a really thin argument. It's jurisdictional. It's jurisdictional. There's nothing in the amendments that says the people. It doesn't say citizens. It doesn't. I'm not arguing for armed illegal immigrants. That's crazy, right? I mean, I'm obviously on board. We should not have illegal immigrants, but I think that the guy last week, the federal judge, is right in a legal sense that there's no grounds to deny an illegal immigrant the rights afforded in the Constitution.
Because we've never had anything like this happen before. And now that we do, we have to invent and create some new laws to tackle the problems that we are foreseeing because the event hasn't happened before. How could they have? We don't have prophets. You know, they didn't foretell the future on what's going to happen. They never had this before.
You understand
that we can just go ahead and give these illegal immigrants guns because it's not written that way. Well, it's not written that way because it's never happened. And now that it is, we need to fix it.
If the government can pass a law that removes this right for
I know that's the juxtaposition.
And here's that's the greater danger because the government will do it. If you give the government, if we all consent to the government having the right to say, felons don't have the right to this or that, illegal immigrants don't have the right to this or that, the federal government will absolutely say, well, you know, if you voted Republican, you don't have the right to bear arms. You don't have, and they will absolutely take it. That is the greater threat. A dangerous armed felon, a dangerous armed illegal immigrant, very dangerous. The government having the ability.
We're getting into a bad freaking argument here in the United States, because if you're going to allow felons to have guns and you're going to allow illegal immigrants to have guns, then all these people that have mental illnesses and whatnot that have been forbidden guns because of all these different mental illnesses, they are Americans and they are in America and we have to give them guns. So do you see what I see 4 steps?
Oh, for sure. Ahead? Look, I'm not saying it's not dangerous. I'm saying the greater danger is giving the government the carte blanche of authority to make up some reason and take it.
I don't agree.
Okay.
I know where you're going with that, and I don't agree with I don't agree that it's going to go that far, but I believe the attempt will go that far, but I don't think it'll ever get that far.
Dude, right now, the Democrats are trying to put their political opponent in prison over bullshit cases. Don't tell me that evil assholes won't get into government and then take everything they can from you. They absolutely will. And if you have any faith whatsoever that the government is like, oh, it's resilient.
That's what this is. This is their next attempt to try to stifle guns. And it's going in from what you're saying, to allow felons to have guns. All right. Let's say that's what happens in this timeline. We allow felons to have guns. Felons have guns. Everybody has guns. Crime goes up, way the freak up. All this crap happens. Democrats do this. They blame. They gain more people because look what happened. All right. We need to take the guns away because look, all the bad guys got guns. We're banning guns. We've banned this. We're banning this. We're banning this. We're banning this because blah, blah, blah. So there's an outcome in this line. Now, let's say that they did not give, or that they did give the convicted felons guns, or they didn't, but we changed the Constitution. Well, you changed the Constitution for that. Let's change the Constitution for this. Let's change the Constitution for this. Let's change the Constitution for this. Change. So it's a freaking double-edged sword that I see where it's coming from. I'm just saying, I'm still to the point to where no, there is a line in the sand on gun owners that you can't. You break the rules. You don't get. It's not a God-given right to drive a car in this country. Okay,
that is true.
It's not a right. You have to follow the rules, and if you break the rules, they take away that right to to drive a car. And it should be the same way with guns. You have the right
Should
to
it?
own a gun. It already is, JJ. You just don't look at it that way. It already is. You just don't look at it that way. Go look.
It's not here.
If you have
I
been
don't have to have a license to own a gun.
You've been clinically depressed, and there's certain mental illnesses that if you have had those diagnosed by a doctor, you can't own a gun. Period.
Yeah, that's interesting. Oh, hey, Ricochet, what's up, man? Thanks for hollering at us. Have a good day at work, buddy. Bruddy. That's bro and buddy. Bruddy.
Bruddy. What's that, buddy? So there you go. We don't have very much time left. We
we're running out of time. I don't know anything about. I was going to talk about P. Diddy getting raided, but I don't know anything about this other than
I do.
Other than apparently he's got some sort of a.
I have been saying for
let me just say
this:
is this guy taking the rap for a larger sex ring?
Mm-mm.
He obviously is running. Is he running a sex ring?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but is his sex ring a subset of a larger sex ring?
I think so.
That's what I mean. I think he's taking the rap for some other people.
Diddy, I have argued this for about 20 years.
Oh my God! Wait, pause. We'll do the story tomorrow because I can do the title Diddy or Didn't He?
No, I don't want to defend him because I have hated this man. I can. Okay. Let's do it tomorrow. Let's do it tomorrow.
I really don't know.
I have been saying an argument about Diddy for years to people, and it's just now freaking coming full fold where I've seen the same freaking thing all over Twitter and all over TikTok with these podcast interviews and stuff. And they're saying the same thing that I've been saying for 20 years. So we'll talk about that tomorrow. That's excellent.
All right. Okay.
Excellent.
All right. We'll save that one. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for hanging out with us. Oh, hey, music. We got to do music.
Yeah.
What's our? Did you have a theme this week? I forgot what your theme was.
I didn't have a theme because I was so busy with state champ and all that crap that I didn't get to do one yesterday at all. I forgot it until the end of the show. So this week we're doing 1995 is the year that we're going back to. How old were you in 1995, JJ? 18?
It's 17.
17?
Yeah.
I think I was 17 too. 17 or 18. So your song this week is a good one that you may remember on the charts. Do you remember the band Sponge?
Oh yeah.
So there was a song called Molly by Sponge that was all over the charts, and they had to kind of add another name to Molly because everyone didn't know the name was Molly. So the song is called Molly 16 Candles. So it's the one 16 candles down there. Yeah, it's freaking Molly is great. Sponge is great.
Long time since I heard
highly recommend listening to Sponge. Rotting Pinata was their first album. It has a bunch of candy corns on it. Crowing by Sponge. Oh, man, fantastic song. Just such a great song. So listen to some Sponge. If you've never heard Sponge, great band. Check them out. I really dug Sponge back in the day, man. They were a great band. They're just not just a one-hit wonder type band. Their whole album was really good. Yeah, Crowing was never really on the radio, and that was my favorite song. So check out some Sponge.
Thank you guys. If you haven't already, please hit like and subscribe. Come back tomorrow morning at 8:00 for more news or jokes or newsy jokes, jokesy news. This is a terrible show. Okay. You win, ladies and gentlemen. You win a hilarious joke for hanging in here this long. Deacon, how does a skeleton call his friends? On the telephone. That's a boo.
Have you told the joke yet?
Yeah, I did. It was not. I'm gonna put an X on that one. That's an X.
My birthday last year was I got some weird presents, and I was really annoyed that Ashley gave me a coffin for my birthday. I was like, that's the last thing I need.
It's pretty good. All right, folks. Thank you for hanging out. Check out our outro.
Oh. Whoops.
ever gonna play?
Talking heads lying left and right. You can help us
Maybe
bring
not.
facts
The whole
into the
pre-stream
light.
just
Playing.
broke.
Don't let your daughter
Playing.
lose her next swim meet to a psychopath dude with fake teeth. Tune in now to your 2000 show. JJ and Deacon, they're the ones that know. Subscribe quick, the squid monster's on the way. Conspire with us, tomorrow's news.
Like the entire thing
today.
broke. It's all stuck.
Oh yeah.
Playing for
All I can say is that those two boys are on a few lists. That's a fact.
Don't take my rights away. You're gonna have to hit the end button, Deacon. I can't do anything. It's in the top right corner.
No, it's not.
It's not.
Mm-mm.
Whole thing's broke.
This is a cool ending to the show.
Great.
Hang on.
Well, kids,
let
I
me
can't
bring this
stop
in
the
like that.
show.
I don't know. You didn't give me permission to stop